I think I've got this welcoming a few comments role tonight. I just have to say that I'm, right, are we okay? Yeah? All right. Thank you. My husband always says, get it out of your face, Kitty, get it down. Anyway, I just want to say that when I look around this room and I know the people that will be at the Saturday Summit, and I know the people throughout this community that care on an everyday basis and work on this issue on an everyday basis. And I'm so grateful to all of you because you are part of what makes this a great community to live in. So thank you all very, very much. I want to thank the Eugene Human Rights Commission and the Community Coalition for Advancement of Human Rights for organizing this event this evening. I remember, well, first of all, I was going to say, Ken Newbeck, I remember, I think he was hardly in Eugene when I met him at the Morning Glory Cafe, he just happened to be there, and I don't know how we ended up at the same table. I can't even remember how that happened, but we were sitting there having breakfast, and I think it was the first time I ever heard about this notion, and so he was hardly in the city before he brought this concept and this passion for believing actually, and maybe that's what brought him to Eugene, believing that Eugene could be the kind of place that could get this work done. I remember speaking on December 10, 2008 at the 60th anniversary celebration of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, a community-wide event presented by the Commission and the Coalition. At that event, I issued a mayoral proclamation in which I encouraged, quote, all people to work together with me on ways we can achieve greater progress in respecting, protecting, and fulfilling the full range of human rights contained in the Universal Declaration here in Eugene. Tonight, I continue to feel very strongly that we can and must continue working together to achieve that greater progress and ultimately make Eugene known as a true human rights city. I'm not alone in those feelings. City Council has been very conscientious and thoughtful in putting forth its council visions and values, which begin by stating that Eugene must be, quote, a community where all people are safe, valued, and welcome. That's a mighty goal. I will add here that we have not reached it. I will add here that I believe that as a human being, we will always be working on it. I don't think we will ever fulfill it because I think really creating this kind of human rights city, this kind of welcoming and understanding and sharing and supporting other people is something we will all have to work on forever, and you just might as well get used to it. I am struck by how closely this and other elements of the Council's vision statement track and resonate with the fundamental human rights identified in the Universal Declaration. In the case of this particular quote, the right to security of person, the right to be free from discrimination, and always, always respect for human dignity. You might also know you've heard me harp on the issue of sustainability. And some of you think of that as strictly an environmental issue. I want to tell you the triple bottom line, that is what sustainability, preserving for the future the things that are important today so that we may all share them forever, include a strong economy, protecting our environment, but they also include social equity. All those things allow us to live together. It is for such reasons that Council and the City of Eugene enthusiastically endorsed and are supporting tonight's event and the all-day Human Rights Community Summit to take place on Saturday. But it's not just the Mayor and the Council who see the connection between our work and the values promoted by universal human rights. I want to note that our city staff, wonderful city staff, new 5-year diversity and equity strategic plan includes an action item calling for collaboration with the Human Rights Commission to work on ways that staff can implement the human rights framework across all our city departments. I'm likewise pleased to see non-governmental groups in Eugene increasingly framing their work in the community using human rights language. Finally, I am encouraged that the concept of human rights really seems to be bringing people together encouraging constructive collaborations and the formation of new partnerships, and challenging all of us to imagine new ways that we can address pressing community issues. There are many ways, in fact, each and every day, that we must stand up together for what is right and just. So I've been reading these biographies of Eleanor Roosevelt. I'm on my second volume right now. And I'm struck by how the issues that Eleanor Roosevelt was dealing with in her time were pretty much the same issues we're dealing with in this time. And it takes the same amount of guts to deal with them today as it did then. Years ago, Eleanor Roosevelt, who was personally instrumental in the creation and the UN adoption of the Universal Declaration, made this statement, quote, "Where, after all, do universal human rights begin? In small places, close to home, so close and so small, they cannot be seen on any maps of the world. Yet they are the world of the individual person, the neighborhood he or she lives in, the college she or he attends, the factory, farm, or office where he or she works. Unless these rights have meaning there, they have little meaning anywhere. Without concerted citizen action to uphold them close to home, we shall look in vain for progress in a larger world." This evening's event, along with the Human Rights Community Summit on Saturday, are bringing Eleanor Roosevelt's words to life. We need to thank the Human Rights Commission and the Community Coalition for the work they've been doing to nurture the growing conversation about local implementation of universal human rights. Thanks to this work, Eugene is now being looked at, too, as an example by other communities around the United States and has begun to receive recognition by human rights organizations at the national level. In the year before his death, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stated, "We have moved from the era of civil rights to human rights." I know we will draw upon Dr. King's spirit, his optimism, and his courage as we move forward in bringing human rights home in Eugene. And I would just add, if there was ever a time in this nation that called for human rights, it is now. Thank you.